Hi everybody, this is the original Josh with Kranzle USA, Pressure Washer Perfection. And today we have determined that our on-off switch has failed on our Kranzle pressure washer, and I'm going to show you how we replace it. So you begin by making sure, of course, that the machine is unplugged. But you begin by taking out the 4 screws in the electrical enclosure and removing the cover. When you open up the enclosure, you're going to move the capacitor out of your way and just let it hang on the side of the enclosure. Your new switch will look like this out of the package. So it will be an exact replacement of the one that's coming out. The 2 screws on the cover plate can be removed with a Phillips. So once you remove the cover, you'll notice that there's a little bit of dielectric grease on the inside. That's meant to protect the switch. So if you have any of that in your garage, I would recommend putting a little smear on there to replace it. That helps to protect the electrical components, well, the metal components inside the switch from moisture and corrosion. In this particular environment, it makes sense. You're spraying chemicals and water to clean. So once you've removed that cover and pop off the terminals and take note of which terminals plug into what part of the switch. There are numbers on the switch that you can use for reference. You'll use your flat screwdriver to pop the switch out of the housing. When you remove the old switch. So before we put this switch back into the housing, I'm giving you the opportunity to customize your machine even further, as many of you like to do. So if you don't like the orientation of the switch, this is an opportunity for you to be able to switch direction that it rocks. I don't think that it makes a difference which way it goes, but if you like it to be on in a particular direction, this is your opportunity to do that. But it is still important to make sure that the terminals go back on the side of the switch where you took them off. So here we'll go ahead and pop it back in, reinstall our terminals. As you can see, this is a pretty cut and dry process. Now once you do that, once you put your switch cover back on, this is when you'll put your dielectric grease in place. And note that on the switch cover, there is an indication of on and off, as well as on the actual rubber boot. If you've switched the direction of the switch, make sure you switch the direction of the cover. Reinstall these screws. They only need to be snug. No He-Mans necessary for this process. There you go. Nice and snug. You can see how tight it fits into the housing. Now we'll put our capacitor back in place. I like to tuck the wires so that the capacitor is sitting nice and even inside the housing and not actually laying on any of the wires. Because if you pinch the wires in between the housing and the capacitor when you put the cover back on, that can lead to an electrical fault. So now once we tighten our screws down, we can retest the machine, and this step is complete.
Kranzle USA, pressure washer